That's more so like Hook Hunter for Kindred or for Veigar, like in the mid game, specifically in pulling people out of the Kindred ultimate. There's a lot of displacement that FlyQuest has put into this overall team composition. So even though Blabber's been a great Kindred, this is a tricky game to navigate for Cloud9.
Yeah. There's actually several good counter picks here for Blitzcrank. You mentioned the Kindred, which is obviously a very, very good one. Whether on Kindred or someone else, you yoink them out of the ulti. Hey, guess what? You can kill them now. But also keep in mind that as of about a year ago, Blitzcrank ult kills shields. And Set's, I would argue, primary tank stat is in popping his W and getting about half his max health, up to half his max health in a big shield, which you one-shot, deal damage afterwards, and suddenly that Set can be killed. Nautilus has some minor shielding as well, so there's actually quite a lot of value here that Ignar can easily put forth in this game. It's going to be very exciting to watch what happens here. I like the FlyQuest draft. PoE is on, I think, the epitome of teamfight mages and should be able to put up potentially another 1,000 damage per minute game like he's done several times so far in the postseason, and we're ready to go here for this one. It's going to be really exciting.
And fancy an addition here for the finals is we got the player cams showing their remote setup, so even more mimicking of kind of the live viewing environment. But yeah, Freak, the early game here is going to be really interesting because I want to know what Santorin can activate here in the early game. Something that's been most impressive to me in the playoffs on Blabber is actually some of his Nocturne early game paths, because he's been able to pick junglers who are disadvantaged in the early game, but through where he paths, get gold and experience advantages and not let the other jungler take over. So Pantheon is just such a monster from kind of level 3 onwards in terms of early gank pressure. Let's pay attention to the early wards and really where Blabber and Santorin go.
Okay, going to be watching the jungle pathing, especially for the first 3 minutes or so in this game. So far, it's the docile start. You've got fairly defensive wards on each side. Ignar picking up where he left off, really, in yesterday's games where he tried to pressure mid at level 1, see if he could get it. Okay, puts a ward down, that'll track some of Blabber's pathing, and then, all right, we're going to let Nisqy go. No jungle camps to leash, a safe walk down to the bottom lane, and we'll see the Pantheon get his red buff to start. We're going to see Kindred get their blue to start. Fairly similar opening paths.
Yeah, I really want to point out that a lot of times Pantheon can take a very popular Pantheon path is actually Wolves and then into the red side of his jungle. Santorin has just done a red buff start, so it will throw a few things off in terms of what Blabber might be expecting. Also, really pay attention to where Santorin goes at 3 minutes. I think he's probably the most frequent 3-minute ganker of all LCS players, so generally that gank goes mid. With how defensive Nisqy is playing, probably not. So Sven and Vulcan need to be ready around 3 minutes to see if Santorin is going that way, because that's kind of where his path is taking him.
Right, if you look at how the mid lane is going right now, keep in mind it was hard shoved by PoE in the first 2 waves, so now it's bouncing back. Unless Carvival hard shoves this, it will go to the red side of the map and potentially force Nisqy to have to overextend to fight for farm, so we may see the lane, even if he doesn't want to, go into a spot where Nisqy could be ganked. As bot lane's shoving in for the Cloud9 side, they're feeling safe. You get that trinket ward in the brush off to the left of the screen. They know they're safe from Pantheon ganks early on. The shove will be no problem. 17 out of 19 CS the first few waves. We'll see how close Wild Turtle can get.
Yeah, overall, really like the way C9's been playing that initial early game. Really good wards on that side. Really good roam into the river by Vulcan as well, because that would be where Santorin would be waiting if he was planning a gank bottom. And it just allows Blabber to get a 5 camp clear early on. Has to watch out at this Scuttle Crab, though. I think he may have been expecting Santorin to be elsewhere, because he's not going to get anything done by being in the river here.
Yeah, gets nothing done right there. Ignar had already roamed over, and actually, this is a recall that could be stopped. He knows, right? So easy hook.
Yeah, well, the hook would
not
maybe
go
mean
for
Ignar dies. So
yeah, fair. I would have done it and then lost most of my health bar and lost bot lane for Fertile, and it would have been my fault.
Got the
It would have been support difference, but man, stopping that recall is so tempting. End of the day, though, it's Santorin getting both scuttles. So even though Blabber did get the mark to spawn in the bottom one, regardless, he loses both anyway. Takes his first recall. To be fair, Santorin has not done that yet, so Santorin up a camp, up in vision. Blabber, though, at least will have faster farming, and goes back to clear top side.
yeah, nice control ward as well to spot out the ward that Santorin was just able to place. But so overall, Blabber keeping up. Santorin hasn't necessarily taken something over yet, and the game is yet to break open. One thing that I want to touch on quickly here in terms of why this matchup can be exciting is how much better FlyQuest has looked since adding Solo. And for those of you who haven't necessarily been following Solo, he's a player who didn't have a team in the offseason and signed with FlyQuest as an assistant coach halfway through the split to then be thrust into the starter position kind of right before playoffs and has played the vast majority of playoff games for this team. It's just been almost like this storybook split for Solo, and now going up against Licorice. I was reading in some of the threads yesterday, people are really hyped to see Solo versus Licorice because of how powerful Solo has looked as an individual top laner. So just wanted to call out how impressive that story has been, and it would be just even more ridiculous if he was able to somehow pull off an upset today.
Yeah, I mean, Solo is the only player on FlyQuest who has not been in some kind of important final already. He made Challenger Series finals a few years ago, but realistically, right, this is his best, at least, placement performance of all time.
Yeah.
And you look at his stats as well throughout the LCS, and he's actually played more than 18 games at this point, so he's played essentially a full season of games, and he's second or third in most stats overall. So Solo has absolutely been a standout performer in the sort of last half of the split, and it is part of the reason why, you know, my brain says, well, but maybe FlyQuest has a chance here. It is his top lane matching up maybe to what Licorice can offer. As we look at the early laning phases, of course, Licorice is slightly up in farm on the set with a wave pushed in, the chance of roaming over, but he's going to go ahead and take his recall. Top lane right now fairly equal with, of course, team fight prowess very strong on an Ornn.
Yeah, and C9 has to respect the power of Santorin's Pantheon right now. This could be a kill.
Oh, that is so much damage. Blabber flash, the flash follow, and there is first blood 6 minutes in. Vulcan gets away to safety, but Santorin strikes first in the final.
And here's the red flag that was thrown up in C9's draft is the fact that if Pantheon gets on Kindred and Kindred doesn't have ultimate, it's over. That was obviously Ignar landing the hook, but it was Santorin's burst from Pantheon that was able to finish that off. And FlyQuest take double scuttle at the start of the game. Blabber doesn't get an experience advantage on Santorin, and then Ignar's roam strikes first. This, at least for the first 6.5 minutes, has been business as usual for FlyQuest's early game with what they've done to other teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, very impressive stuff right now to FlyQuest. If we take a look at this fight yet again, it's just a great hook off the ward.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to scatter off that control ward because they knew a Blitzcrank was going to be coming. Didn't reaction flash the hook, thought maybe you'd be able to sidestep it, but especially when near terrain, that's Blitzcrank's favorite place for you to be because it doesn't give you any path to juke. The only way that Blabber could have avoided that hook, based on the path he took, would have been with flash.
Now, I want to take a look at the other parts of the map real quick as Niski's being handed the blue buff. Nice play by Blabber. There's the Q, there's the pickup. Though Cloud9 are winning in the bot lane to the tune of 12 to 13 CS, which is very impressive. Mid lane is going as lopsided for Power of Evil. And Niski's leveling up, he's getting the Q stacks, that's all nice, but like, Veigar is balanced around the fact that he gets free ability power through his Q. That doesn't belie the gold lead that exists in this game. So this is FlyQuest doing a very good job with the early game. Good job in the jungle, great job in mid. And if Solo's safe up here on the top side, which he is, he'll catch up in top lane farm as well.
Yeah, and I think with Blabber doing his best to stay competitive in the farm game, he's unable to help set up any types of dives that would otherwise happen around a powerful solo lane set. So what's interesting about this game is I feel like C9 has drafted themselves advantages in the top and the bottom lane, but because Kindred can't safely invade the jungle of FlyQuest due to the power of Pantheon, they can't convert on any of those side lane advantages, which is kind of why the game is so low in kills. Just Blabber can't move where he normally would like to move thanks to Santorin.
And right now, Santorin's moving where he wants to, which is the top side for this Rift Herald. Cloud9 are roaming over. Vulcan's here, but it's a 4 versus 3 in favor of FlyQuest. That said, Zen shows up at the 4v4, and this time around Solo, oh, that is the hook, and that is burst damage. The ult comes down for Blabber in time, jumps on the wall, he's going to stay in the ring for some healing, and that's going to be able to keep him alive. Here comes the Ornn Horn, Smite's going to go through the Cloud9, they claim that, but Ignor's going to walk up for a kill, can't find it. Cloud9 by the slimmest of margins keep Blabber alive and steal the Rift Herald.
Yeah, narrowly avoiding disaster, actually, because they roamed up 5 people. If Blabber would have died there, it would have been really bad. It's also dangerous to Rift Herald swap against an Aphelios because he can actually kill your turret so quickly. This play's not over yet. C9 wants to Rift top, but FlyQuest is pressuring them off of it.
And we actually want to point out, LS and Doublelift were talking yesterday during the championship qualifier match, talking about, what is a Rift Herald worth? And Doublelift said that if you get a wave and a turret plate, or sorry, it's 2 waves and a turret plate, that is better than Rift Herald, just outright, because that is roughly the EV of a Rift Herald in the first place. That is roughly what Wild Turtle got in the bottom lane. That bot lane turret is down to only 3 plates left, and that first wave crashed to the turret before Licorice got down there. So Cloud9 paid the cost of what they're expecting to get back with this Herald charge.
Right, well, now it depends on what the Herald will end up giving them, because Rift Herald charge in isolation kills 2 plates. And as you mentioned, that's exactly what he got before then. But the extra special thing about Rift Herald is it can do true damage, which if it is able to actually crack the first turret and give you that first turret bonus, that's when the Rift Herald can become more valuable than the extra wave that Wild Turtle may have picked up on the bottom side. Because overall, Licorice teleported down to catch the wave. Sven actually shoved out top wave. The CS advantage, which was previously about 10 or 15, has now moved to about 3, but will bounce back, assuming Sven can pick up this wave and doesn't die to some hype Ignar play. So we really just have to pay attention to where C9 uses this Rift Herald. If they can get a kill onto the Flash, the Solo, it could be first turret.
Flash used for it. Solo's going to run around as fast as he can, but he's now on the wrong side of the map. Not possible to live. Blabber's got the mark. They're going to find the kill, and Cloud9 finally on the board in the final. Gets the gold lead back to only 800. They're ready to charge top.
Yeah, and what they want to do here is they would love to get the first 3 plates burned or 2.5 plates burned before dropping Rift, but they have to be very careful for Pantheon Ultimate. Look at the minimap. Santorin is coming, PoE is coming. If C9 try and greed for this turret, they might get jumped on.
Yep. Okay, plate number 2 is going to die, and Herald will get the next 2, but PoE wants to go for the play as fast as he can. Here comes the play. Here comes the dive. 2-on-2. Flash from Blabber. They're focusing him down. It's a lot of burst. A quick stun for Licorice, and they're going to burn down Santorin. Blabber was still unable to ult, but a 1-for-1 with the rest of the gold they got there is still a great play for Cloud9.
And he saves the turret, though. So, Freak, this has been so neck and neck. Overall, if we're talking strictly Herald play, yeah, C9 got a little bit more than the plates down bottom, but that was such a heroic rescue play by FlyQuest, and let's pay attention to where the gold is going. PoE caught that wave. PoE got the kill. He's now 114 CS, 1 kill, Azir. And watching this one more time, the margins are razor thin. Of course, they burst the Kindred because right now that is the highest DPS character. Blabber does get the kill first, but what FlyQuest cares about is gold on Power of Evil and still not having that turret go all the way down right now because the plate is still extra gold until 14 minutes, and they still have hope of getting the first turret of the game.
And over the wall he goes, looking at this Drake right now. Solo is going to spot it out, but keep in mind Kindred can very easily jump back over the wall. Gonna burn Q until the W drops. That's going to be the last low cooldown jump. So Blabber is now going to hold on to that button, right? Knows he's flashless, knows he has to hold on to that jump just in case something happens. Gets the smite, jumps over the wall, clean take on the second Drake of the game. So we're at least 15 minutes away from Dragon Soul if either team takes Mount from the game right now. Great hook down there for us. The flash of the Vulcan. May just live, but may just not. The anchor backwards, and the ignite is not enough. Vulcan just barely gets away with his life and actually comes out ahead in Summoners.
Man, I'm really loving the first 13 minutes of this game because of how much FlyQuest is willing to go for. Normally, you think Blitzcrank lands that hook over the wall, he gets Vulcan's flash for it, play over. But they went for it. They were extremely close to being able to pick up that kill. Now they missed, so it's going to hurt them, and Vulcan's just going to reset with flash anyway, but I love the mentality. They're looking to dive top now after getting the Vulcan recall.
Nice flash by Niski. 1v3 gets away from it. Santorin puts up the shield and gets away, but that is still at least only burning a flash 5. A 1v3 is good play. Want to point out, 1,200 gold lead in mid lane as the observers switched over. Power of Evil is massively ahead down there. Turtle's also about 300 to 400 gold up above Sven. So that is where the gold lies on FlyQuest's side, and those are the optimal 2 champions to have the gold lead. For Cloud9, it's the other 3 lanes.
Yeah, and just to touch back on what the expectations were coming into the series, many people thought this was just going to be a complete 3-0. It still could be, depending on what happens, but I think what we're seeing now is just the competitiveness of an early game of an important series. Like, C9 has not won that title since 2014, and maybe there's a little bit of hesitancy with the way they're going. They got to find their footing in this game, and that's a big pick.
Oh, goodbye. That is flashless Ignar. He burned it to chase down Vulcan and didn't convince the kill to come over. Now a flash to the bottom side. So much crowd control. Licorice going to come with the punch back, but he's still running low on health and just simply is not going to get away. But he will set up for his mid laner. Niski gets on the board with his first kill of the game. We'll have to kite back from Solo. That TP is burned to make it a 1-for-1.
Really important pickup for Niski there, seeing as you just mentioned how much gold he was behind PoE earlier. The fact that Niski was able to live through that 3-man dive up top and then also pick up a kill by teleporting in will keep him relevant in the gold game. Now, look at that. The gold has been closed to 300 difference between the Veigar and the Azir in the mid lane. So Cloud9 looks like they're starting to find their footing a little bit. Actually moves off the Rift Herald to go for this Azir.
Okay, Blabber's gonna get knocked back. He's gonna build some time, but he's still been slowed, and Licorice is on the run. Vulcan's here as well. Sven over the top. PoE has flash. He's got cleanse as well. Jumps away, brings up a soldier, stays alive. Yeah, Niski donated solo first turret as well as that kill from Licorice. Has closed that gap somewhat, but still has to play a bit of defense here against Solo as the wave's pushed in, and Niski will do his best to clear the wave.
All right, so now that they've pushed PoE off of the top lane, it appears that Blabber can go and take the Rift Herald as Solo is getting some solo gold in the bot lane. So really close game right now, and the things that we're going to have to track moving into this next dragon fight, which will be in about 2 minutes, is can Ignar catch anyone with his Blitzcrank hooks? If FlyQuest doesn't get the right setup for a lot of these team fights, I think it's going to be relatively difficult for them to win. They have so many pick tools, but if they have to start navigating around event horizons, now that Niski has the Glacial Augment and the GLP, just the immense amount of team fight control that can provide, it'll be difficult. So let's see if FlyQuest can get some of the early setup and get picks onto either the Kindred, Veigar, or Misfortune.
Yeah, worth pointing out, no Mercury treads on the FlyQuest side, so no one's got tenacity for that nearly max rank stun coming out of Niski. He's only a couple levels away from that being all the way to rank 5. And yeah, it's navigating around it, and if he lands it on you, say goodbye to 2 seconds of doing anything. And yeah, that makes life incredibly difficult. So Cloud9 have moved their dual lane to the mid lane. FlyQuest have done the same. Wild Turtles can be fairly safe back here. Infinity Edge plus Boots, Double Dagger. He's going to feel really comfortable in these team fights. The Misfortune's going to feel pretty comfortable as well. And again, you mentioned the Hextech GLP being done. Of course, Nash's for Power of Evil has plenty of team fight damage. And I want to see now, as 30 seconds comes in till the Ocean Drake spawns, that is right now FlyQuest controlling the side of the map. They've got control wards down. They've got a sweeper. They've got this river lit up.
C9 still has Rift, so they might look to pressure with Rift Herald for something, but they find Turtle.
That is so much damage. The anchor into the ultimate. Nothing could have been done unless he flashed the Q, and that is optimal timing. Cloud9 going to get that kill. They'll get the wave. The Blitz question mark emote comes out. Who is the better hook champion now? I love the swag from Vulcan. And they're first going to stay to get that charge going down the mid lane, but then turn it around. Ultra charge. All right, down to 1/3 HP, and immediately they can say that they can go for the Drake right now. It's 5v4. Turtle can't fight. If they wanted it, they could go for it, but they're staying for mid.
You can see the disappointment on FlyQuest faces right now after Wild Turtle getting picked off. This is a questionable fight with no AD carry, but they're going anyway. Missed the hook.
They saw Niski was bot lane. They're going to go back into this one. Vulcan gets the aftershock on, goes in towards Solo. He's going to run back. Big burst. Going to get him down, and they will. They will knock down Blabber. Then trade back to Ventura. It's jungler for jungler. Now Vulcan's getting low. One more auto kill, but he gets out of range. Niski on the way back up the lane. Same for Wild Turtle. Again, it's a 1-for-1, a trade of jungle kills. Niski is now here, and he's the guy with the big health bar. Finds a stun on Solo. That is not the optimal target. Simply kites away as Ignar zones him out with a threat of a hook.
FlyQuest might actually get this dragon because C9 opted to pick up more farm on Niski rather than staying 5 strong to go for the Drake. And even after the big mistake by Wild Turtle is punished, getting hit by that Vulcan hook at the start of the fight, the net cost to FlyQuest is relatively low. PoE now, Nasher's completed, still highest CS in the game. 2 Drakes for FlyQuest, Ocean Soul on the table if they're able to pick up 2 more. They recovered after what could have been a demoralizing, tilting play. Now, they don't actually land their initiation here in any sense of the word, but on the re-engage, they managed to pick up something big. Stun into silence on Blabber, so he can't get his Kindred ultimate off. I think that's what C9 would have been counting on. And then C9 just straight up has to retreat.
Yeah, and even as they got Niski back, it was, as you mentioned, FlyQuest stepping around it. Only Solo got tagged by the Event Horizon stun, which meant the rest of the team could be a threat. And there was no re-engage for C9 even after they pulled the mid laner over. So take a look at the game yet again. We'll point out that as turrets have fallen, as farm has been accrued, it is a 1,500 gold lead for Cloud9. So they have turned the corner in that regard, doing a bit less than their average early game, generally speaking. But as we've been pointing out, FlyQuest are up to that second Drake. They are only 9 minutes away from an Ocean Soul, which is one of the most highly prized and could be a very big factor in this game.
Yeah, overall, FlyQuest has definitely been pushed a little bit to their back foot. And now that Niski has his second Glacial Augment item with the Twin Shadows to go with his GLP, C9 will be looking for picks of their own. So anytime we look to group around mid, which is kind of what's happening right now, Wild Turtle has to really watch out. And FlyQuest jumped the gun. They're going earlier. They can get Sven.
Going for the play, and they've knocked down one already. Here comes the re-engage, and it's a 4v4 because PoE cannot join the fight, so Ignar is dead, and into the back line goes Licorice. The chase down's gonna look good.
You gotta run.
Flash, Licorice does the same. There is a slow on Solo, and he can try to get away. The health bar is big, but he's not nimble enough. Cloud9 lose the AD carry, but they take the same 4v4 we saw a second ago, just in the inverse, and they win it.
Yeah, definitely some mixed calls coming from FlyQuest there. I understand why they went for the play, because they see that Sven is pushed up, that there is no flash on him, and they think they can burst him out. But Power of Evil, the guy who does 35% of the team's damage on average, which is more damage than anyone else does for any team, is not there. So yes, FlyQuest was able to kill Sven, but then they had nothing left, and C9 could chase them down with what was still a numbers advantage even after Sven died. So overall, C9 actually wins that play despite their AD carry dying at the start of it.
And the long-term ramifications are that turrets are traded. We saw Power of Evil stay in the top lane. He knocked down the outer turret. Not long after, Licorice did the same down in the bottom lane, and we still have this 2,000 gold lead. To be fair, it's actually grown somewhat because, of course, yes, they won the team fight. Yes, they got more kills, they got more money in the pockets, and so Cloud9 are getting farther ahead in this game. We're seeing the more standard build of the raw attack damage version of Kindred, where it's Warrior into Black Cleaver, as opposed to the more attack speed, potentially crit builds that you can sometimes see. It's what we saw coming out of Svenskeren as well. Still going to craft a new item. He's got that, first big power spike, right? Level 13, finished Sunfire Cape upgraded, finished Abyssal Mask upgrade. So that's the first big power spike in for the Ornn. We'll see if that team fight sort of prowess can matter. But for now, tank stats have not been the important part of Ornn. He's been tanky enough for all his purposes. It's been the rest of the team being able to hold up.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that Solo has those upgraded items is important, but definitely not one of those things that will decide the game. I think in terms of what can be game deciding, it's how much are Power of Evil and Wild Turtle going to be able to free fire in team fights, and how much disruption can C9 put on their backline. Because if we just look at raw damage output, a late game Azir and a late game Aphelios, I don't know if there's a combo that can do more. I've seen some really ridiculous things with late game Aphelioses who are able to stand and fire. Now, with that being said, FlyQuest doesn't really have peel. This isn't a Janna or a Lulu or even a Tom Kench able to protect him. This is a Blitzcrank who has no protection skills whatsoever. So I think it's going to be really difficult for Wild Turtle to play these fights, even if he has a bunch of damage of his own.
Vulcan attempts to play into Ignar. They're both going to miss the hooks, though. And regardless, we know this Drake is spawning in 20 seconds, and I don't think Cloud9 can realistically give away third Drake and think that that's going to be a good choice. So it's both teams coming down to this side of the river. It is FlyQuest trying to step up, the Cloud9 trying to do the same. Nice bit of damage trade as Vulcan goes in a half HP. Well done by Wild Turtle. Puts down another turret. That's more things. Here comes the play already. The touch, the backline. Power of Evil is not.
It got his ear.
1 for 1 so far, and Santorin's in a bad spot. He's going to try to flash away. Stays alive for now. Wild Turtle pre-fires for a bit of time, finds the root, and it's again a 1 for 1. You trade out Vulcan for Power of Evil, though. That is a lead Cloud9 will take.
Absolutely. Power of Evil was the richest person in the game. 260 CS and 2 kills. Being able to kill him at the start of the fight means C9 can walk down to take the Drake. PoE dies with flash up. Would have to see exactly what happened one more time, because while FlyQuest was looking to choke down into that river funnel, it just didn't work out for them when PoE goes down.
Yeah, huge deal right there. He got the ulti up, but not enough to save him, so that is second Drake picked up for Cloud9. They immediately scatter around the map and grab some more objectives. They get top scuttle, they get some more waves. Licorice can fight solo. This is not going to be very difficult for him, but you can see the gold lead growing a little bit, and that Drake at 2-2 means Cloud9 are edging closer to winning this game.
Still such an entertaining game one, and here's that pick potential from Niski. Twin Shadows don't slow Ignar quite enough to be able to get the stun, but you can see even just a small contest in the river can be punished by this Veigar. It doesn't matter that he's down 50 CS in terms of how important it is for him to be able to land that CC.
And Vulcan's going to run on the map and get rid of some wards. They kind of, looks like both teams are aware that Baron is probably next up on the list. As Cloud9 crest 25 minutes in with pretty decided map control. I feel like their item spikes are pretty good across the board. 2 full items plus a stopwatch for Licorice. As you mentioned, both of the important slowing items are done here for Niski. Sven's got 75% crit chance. That's awesome for Misfortune. He's ready to go on that champ. I can see C9 trying to find themselves a team fight.
I think so as well, and Power of Evil will be working towards Rabadon's Death Cap. That will be the next big power spike for FlyQuest. They need the Death Cap to be completed on the Azir, and they need Solo to hit level 15 so he can then upgrade that Death Cap. And that will, I think, put FlyQuest in a more competitive space, just item-wise. But the bigger thing that's going to decide this game is the positioning in the team fights, and as we keep saying, whether or not PoE and Wild Turtle can have space to auto-attack. Licorice is making it so difficult for them to do stuff when you're layering in all this other CC from the Veigar and the Nautilus. And so far, even though it's been a very close game, C9 has been higher execution in the team fights.
Yes, they have 9-6 in kills. Those fights have gone better. The hook's not going to land. The stun certainly will. Will it knock down Vulcan? Not just yet. Finds a backline stun. Damage on Santorin. Gets taken down. And Blabber's still on the chase. Gets pushed back. Oh, barely gets back into the ultimate. Here comes Event Horizon. Here comes re-engage. Huge damage from PoE, but it's not going to be enough. Turtle is going to get punched to death, and Sven is free firing as well. FlyQuest can try to find the kill onto Blabber. Solo gets a bit close, but it's easily a 4 for 2, and Cloud9, they have the life, they're going to walk right into the Baron pit to claim this objective.
And that fight was so well fought by C9. This is one of the reasons that they have only dropped 2 games of 25 that they've played all year, is not only do you have to beat them in draft or in strategy, you also have to be able to out-punch them in team fights. And right there, the look from FlyQuest was pretty good. The fact that they had the numbers advantage in the river, but when C9 decided to turn, boy, did they turn. The hook goes wide. I think Ignar was actually hoping to snake Blabber. Watch the timing on this Kindred ultimate. So Santorin goes down to the bullet time, and then as soon as he goes, he sneaks right back into his Kindred ultimate, delaying everything. The Veigar cage just kind of stun locks people within, and then as Turtle is hoping to just narrowly finish off Blabber, hey, he stepped too far. All of his damage is dead, and he has no appeal for that. If Felios, it doesn't matter how much damage you do if you're dead. So that is the fight where C9 break the game open.
And yeah, as you mentioned, they're really breaking the game open. This feels really comfortable now for Cloud9's side. They've got the Baron buff on for a solid 2 minutes. We expect, I'm going to guess 3 turrets fall at least during the Baron buff, maybe an inhibitor as well. The Drake, I think, goes without mentioning. Cloud9 going to move around. They have pushed in the mid lane, but that got cleared. They're pushing down to the bottom lane. Licorice Shepherd's in that wave. PoE will try some wave clear, but you can see Sven chunks that turret heavily every single auto attack, and is one that they have a little bit of time to attack with. They should knock this turret down before too terribly long. Wave gets clear, but they, for now, are going to respect the Blitzcrank. They're playing back and forth across the jungle instead, getting rid of the vision, allowing them to walk back and forth to roam to mid if needed.
Yeah, and basically, every time C9 gets away from the turret, they're going to put a Veigar cage right around where you saw it placed the last time. That's going to allow Sven to get an auto attack or two off. Then when the Veigar cage goes down, they're going to back up because that would be FlyQuest's window to re-engage. So you can see cage goes up, C9 backs off, they get a few shots in, and now C9 will reset until they can do that again.
And they're going to walk up to the top side. Now, Blabber could be a little bit close. Ignar might look for a hook. This actually almost could have landed. He was dangerously close to range on that one. Without flash on Kindred, that theoretically could have turned into a kill. But you saw the play, right? Spooky Ghost caps from out of range. Blabber pops the W, gets the circle under the turret, but not in aggro range himself. And then as the team backs up, C9 walks in. You mentioned the cage. That comes down. No re-engage possible. There's turret number 1. There's Drake picked up. Still a minute left on the Baron buff. Mid lane tier 2, dangerously close to dead. But right now, C9 not pushing super duper fast, but they are still staying up on the map. Then pushed in bot lane. They find a stun. That is big damage. The ult, he's not, I think he was slightly out of range, maybe, but either way, it might not have enough damage to kill Ignar. That's turret number 2 dead. 30 seconds left on Baron. They're walking top side.
Yeah, there's the level 16 power of Veigar coming in. If he completes a death cap, then maybe that would have actually been enough damage to kill Ignar. And I agree, he was out of range for the ultimate finisher. And I think if Nixie had flash, that's the type of play you'd actually see him flashing over the wall to try and finish. But for now, it is C9 in a pretty good space in terms of the overall game state. It will still be a task to close out this game. They have to break the base. They have to likely get at least one more big team fight, whether that's around Baron, which will be spawning in 3 minutes, or Ocean Drake, which will be spawning in 4. But overall, I think they found their footing, and this is looking like the dominant C9 we've seen through the entire 2020 season.
Yeah, if you tuned in after the first 15 minutes and, oh, it's the exact Cloud9 game I expect, where they're better in teamfights, they're up in gold, they've got all the control, look at them go. It was the first 15 where FlyQuest really did contest them. That has changed since then. The mid game obviously got very explosive. We always knew that Cloud9 had incredible early game stats. They were truly, truly phenomenal in the first 15, but they've also managed to always convert that. A question I saw asked was legitimately, look, Cloud9 can win from ahead. Can they win from behind? They had a moderately sized deficit early on in the game, and it looked like nothing was different.
Oh man, Ignar, he had an opportunity there to turn the game. He's actually missed far more hooks than we're used to seeing from his Blitzcrank, so going to be thinking about this game if they end up losing it moving into game 2, and whether or not going back to the Blitzcrank is a good idea, because he's had plenty of looks and fairly few conversions. They're going for Licorice.
Well, they're going to keep going for this one, though. Licorice has forced to burn his flash. They're going to flash follow this one.
They're
really trying for this kill. Ignar needs to land the hook. It's the ulti to get the touch back in. There's the punch. It buys time, and bullet time drops him low. Licorice will still fall. Is this a fight that Cloud9 wants? They find a knockup on the Vulcan. The cage comes down for not doing too much. C9 actually probably going to turn, tail, and run. They dealt damage, but could not find a kill. Licorice drops, and FlyQuest do a little something to breathe life into their wings.
Hey, pick up kills where you can, but that was a scary one. Jumping onto a set when he's able to land that full haymaker, and the whole while, you know all of C9 is just barreling down to try and find FlyQuest. FlyQuest do it, though, and now they're going for more. Blabber's trying to farm.
He's going through wards to do this. Solo shows up, and yeah, good choice of pathing. Gets over 2 walls. You're not going to chase him down anymore. I appreciate the attempt, though, right? FlyQuest, I think, have the right idea. If that's a kill, that's map control, especially with Licorice still dead. This time around, though, C9 will be able to let their teammates respawn. Mid-outer even will be defended as Cloud9 are there to knock down the wave.
So one thing that has really hurt FlyQuest in these team fights is Santorin being so squishy. It is generally his style where he will play for the early game and then really defer to the team in the late game. It's one of the reasons PoE has so much power, but he really needs a Guardian Angel. And from his inventory item, okay, there we go. He got it. Yeah, I was saying he should take a little bit more farm because he's been sitting on these components forever. This is huge that he has this Guardian Angel now, because it allows him to probably get one more stun off in a team fight, and it will also buy a lot of space while he's in that revive if they are to have a chance in this fight. Baron's up. Ignar's going to be looking for another hook. Let's watch it.
All right, here we go. The dive backwards for Solo. Blabber's going to try for some damage. Going to walk back out of that one. And now we can see yet again what's going to happen in this game is Cloud9 simply shoves down. You get nice pictures of Licorice and Solo. Don't mind what you saw earlier. No one looked down. It's fine. FlyQuest just playing defense.
Yeah. This is how they always look.
And we know Ocean Soul spawns in 35 seconds. That is Cloud9 probably stacking that one up. I expect FlyQuest have to fight over this one. I don't think you want to weather a 6,000 gold deficit and Ocean Soul when you've got very limited healing reduction on the squad. Okay, Turtle has some of that, but it's still a tough one.
How do you move into this space
more slowing
with Veigar Cage on such a low cooldown at this stage in the game? Look at how tightly they have to funnel just to get that spot, and they have no vision. This is going to be an uphill battle for FlyQuest.
Vulcan front lines. He'll pop Stone Plate when he can. He's dropped so dangerously low, and Kiddo comes down as well. Pee-wee make the big play, and it's 2 kills picked up. That's huge for FlyQuest. How about the re-engage? They've already picked up 1. It's now back to a 4v3, and Cloud9 looking to go forward. Sven flashes away, trades his life. Niski's in the middle of 3. That's going to be him dropping. FlyQuest may have turned the corner, but Niski found a kill on Turtle the last second. He got a spell off. I think his W fell on top of Turtle and he didn't see it, and that suddenly means so much. Now it's only 2-on-1 instead of 3-on-1. That can't go Baron, they can't go Drake. It's a TP back to bot side. Licorice wants to stop the chance at a dragon, but it's not being
He's going to take it himself. He's got Blade of the Rune King. He might be able to rush this dragon down if he goes for it. He delayed about 5 seconds. Is he just going to wait? Okay.
I think he was looking for, is someone waiting in the brush? Is someone warded? No? Okay, let's try.
I think he had the window to take that Ocean Drake on his own. This is some indecision from Licorice coming in, but oh my goodness, Freak. Wild Turtle dying to that dark matter at the end of the fight is game-changing. That could have been FlyQuest getting Baron and maybe even Ocean Drake, because they finally found a fight where PoE and Turtle could get damage off. I'm going to watch that replay later because we don't have time for it now. Everyone's respawning and running back here. C9's just going to start up the Drake and force FlyQuest to come in. They don't have Ornalt yet.
Dragon fight to Electric Boogaloo, go for the battle right away, but if Felix is nowhere nearby, the smite is easy, and here comes the engage. This looked Cloud9 favored, and it certainly is. Quick 2 for 0, not a problem at all. That single spell from Niski meant a huge difference. Cloud9 players and 1 spell victory defeat in finals. I've seen it before. This time around it's Niski, and he does it correctly. That means they can run right to Baron 5v3.
It used to be the sneaky W. This was the Niski W, and it's game saving. I'm also not even 100% sure it was the W. I need to see the fight again. It seems like this is it, though. With them being able to pick up the Ocean Soul, having Santorin dead, no steal to be had unless Turtle got a miracle steal, which he does not. Now, 7,000 gold, Ocean Soul, Baron. C9 will likely group up for what could be a final push.
I'm expecting it to be at this point. For what it's worth, the gold lead has flattened. It has remained about 6,000. That is credit to FlyQuest for that first good team fit where they got a bunch of shutdown gold. But the game state lies to about 6,000 gold lead. That is an Ocean Soul and a Baron buff.
All right, so this is going to be the failed steal attempt by Santorin after that nutty fight we saw in the mid lane. And it's just a wash for C9. FlyQuest, just because of the death timers of Turtle, like the fact that he actually died at the very end of that fight, meant he couldn't be there, and because Niski had teleport, he was also able to get there much faster.
Right. But it seemed like, unless I misread that, that was Turtle and Power of Evil nowhere nearby. They were on top of each other running out from the base. FlyQuest, realistically, just shouldn't be there. Yes, Ocean Soul sucks, but you never win that fight 3v5, especially when you know Niski can teleport in. So either way, it's now Cloud9 going in. Nice alley-oop right there. Pulls in Solo, gonna jump backwards. He'll stay alive. Ult's gonna land on 2, but it's ultimately gonna do nothing. Cloud9 still comfortable. Licorice not gonna be hooked in. He's got Guardian Angel anyway. I don't imagine this set dying anytime soon, as mid's gonna be pushed down. Baron buff still on. Ocean Soul still on. It's time to push down for the base. They're gonna look around and go top lane tier 2 first. They're still crossing T's and dotting I's. They're gonna get the easy parts of the base first, and then go for the inhibitors.
And just to backtrack a little bit, it was confirmed a Dark Matter kill from Niski onto Wild Turtle in that mid lane team fight. He came out of stopwatch, QW, hit Turtle with both, and it took a 70% health of Phelios to 0. That, to me, is the defining moment in this win where FlyQuest nearly turned it around and could have had control, whereas now C9 has total control of this game. We do know Aphelios and Azir still have incredible damage that has the potential to move through the Ocean Soul. It is just that much more unlikely at this point.
Unlikely is the name of the game right now. Cloud9 likely to push through, but for now, they're going to play a little bit patient. Shove in top, go back to mid. This turret nearly going down. Baron buff still on for about a minute and change, as they're going to shepherd in the wave. The cannon minion will do little bits of chip damage, and one auto attack will knock it down from Sven. So here comes the engage. Stun onto 2. Goodbye to Ignar. Solo is tanky, but he still has to outrun Cloud9, and that will not happen. The dunk is 80% of PoE's health, and Sven does the rest. In for the dive, his Blabber pops the ulti. Here come the emotes, just for good measure. Couldn't catch what they are, but it doesn't matter. The Nexus will fall. FlyQuest made him work for it, but Cloud9 are the better team. They take game 1 of the LCS final.
There's a lot to unpack in just this game 1. 39 minutes is actually a very long game time for Cloud9. You can look at the series score and say this is going completely as expected, but to me, FlyQuest really did show up to play. I think the question for the rest of the series is going to be, what happens if FlyQuest is going to continue to play good early games? Are they tilted after what happened in the manner in which they lost? I mean, think of what happened this game to Wild Turtle. Oversteps in mid lane in the mid game to die in a place where FlyQuest could have started to take the game back, and then dies to a dark matter in a game deciding fight. So FlyQuest needs to mentally recover from this, because with those two plays aside, they were really competitive with Cloud9 in game 1.
They were really competitive. The series is certainly competitive, and we'll see if FlyQuest can bounce back, but that does it here for game 1. After a quick break, the State Farm Analyst will break down that Cloud9 win and look into game 2. Don't go anywhere.